Hardcore Sports 2011 U.S. Senior Open moment. Brought to you by ProMedica.
When the U.S. Senior Open comes to Inverness next week, it'll be like the sport coming full circle with the world's top golfers right on Dorr Street. Inverness was the first club that allowed touring professionals to change inside, the very best of which chose to make Toledo and Inverness home roughly 20 years later. When you think of Byron Nelson, you think of arguably the best golfer ever.
It's certainly difficult to compare players of different eras, but you know, for a player to win 11 straight tour events, 18 in 1 year, I mean, that's a record that clearly will never be matched, and he was the greatest player of his era.
And he was the head golf pro at Inverness right here in Toledo, beating out Ben Hogan for the job.
When you have the who's who of the tour players, you know, to think that Tiger Woods or Phil Mickelson would be the head professional at Oakland Hills or in Inverness, that's really what it was back in the 30s and 40s.
2 days before arriving at Inverness, Nelson won the U.S. Open. He retired only 2 years after he left the club in 1944. So it's safe to say he spent a good part of his heyday representing Toledo.
Not only did they get a big name, but the big name was adding to their stature by being at a place like Inverness. They wanted to get a real quality player and teacher, and that's why they interviewed guys like Byron Nelson and Ben Hogan.
Now, a little over 65 years and 4 golf pros later, David Graff's in the position that Byron Nelson once held.
As I told the selection committee, you know, this is my Augusta National. Having grown up near here, gone to college at the University of Toledo, to be at Inverness is, you know, certainly for me, you know, the greatest honor and privilege being a golf professional.
It's an Inverness tradition that's often overlooked, but is unlike any other in golf. And we'll have more coverage throughout the week leading up all the way to the U.S. Senior Open. And that's our Hardcore Sports. We'll check out Doug and the weather when we come back.